Okay, so this video is about predicate nominatives and subjects. And the rule is that a verb agrees with its subject, but not necessarily with a predicate nominative. So sometimes you might have a singular predicate nominative that refers to a plural subject. The verb will agree with the subject. Alternatively, you might have a singular subject and a plural predicate nominative. The verb will agree with the subject. Now, if the subject is something like a collective noun, or an expression of an amount, then the predicate nominative is a good clue for figuring that out. But otherwise, the subject does not have to agree with the predicate nominative. So here's the example. One cool weather crop discussed in the article is peas. So a crop here is the subject to the verb is. So crop is singular, so we say S, but peas ends in S. So that's what we're talking about here. And then also, here's another one. Peas are one of the cool weather crops. So if you flip-flop it and make peas the subject, then yeah, the verb changes to be plural. But the one of the cool weather crops discussed, the one here is still singular. All right, and then here's a weird rule. Oftentimes students tell me they've never heard this before, but it's possible to start a sentence with, every, but also many a or many an. Like many a swimmer, many a student, many a person. Anyway, if you have a subject that has every in front of it, like every student, or many a swimmer, use a singular verb. And one thing you'll notice is this says every student and teacher. So we have a compound subject here, but because it has every in front of it, even though we have two things joined by and, because every is here, we use a singular verb. Also many a comes before swimmer. So because of many a, we're going to use a singular verb right here, has. So let's try some of these for practice. So number one, our greatest concern, here is the subject. That's singular. Choose a singular verb, is. But notice how the predicate nominative, the orphaned puppies, is plural. Nope. Make is agree with concern. All right, my specialty in the kitchen, that's singular. Is. My specialty is. But look, vegetable soups, that's plural. So just because what comes after the verb is plural doesn't mean that what comes before is plural. Number three, many a student. We know that if we have many a in front of the subject, many a student, we have to choose the singular verb, which ends in S. Many a student in our calculus class has commented. Number four, the acrobats, that's plural. The acrobats were, no S. Even though the best part is singular, the subject is the acrobats, it's plural. So the predicate nominative does not tell us how many things the acrobats are. Number five, every pot and pan. So even though we have pot and pan, two subjects joined by and, we put the word every in front of it. And according to the rule at the top here, if you have the word every or many a in front of a subject, you're going to use a singular verb. So it's every pot and pan in the restaurant has been washed because it has every ha. Many an aspiring actor. So here we have many a or many an. That means we're going to use singular. So many an aspiring actor finds. So number seven is tricky because it's a question. And in questions, you can put a helping verb at the beginning of the sentence. So here we have to choose at the beginning of the sentence. Is or are sequined evening dresses the most becoming choice? So here's our subject. Dresses is plural, so we're going to say are. Even though the predicate nominative over here, the most becoming choice is singular. Even though this is singular, that's just the predicate nominative. This is the subject. One way to approach a sentence that is a question, so the verb is moved to the front of the sentence, one way to approach this is to write it as a statement. Sequined evening dresses are the most becoming choice for your bridesmaids. Let's do a couple more. 8. One thing. One thing is one thing. So one thing is. Even though we have colored pencils over here, it's plural, that's just a predicate nominative. What matters is what comes in front of the verb. I'll just do a couple more. Number 9. Not every. So here we have every again. If every comes in front of a subject, it is going to be singular. Not every high school athlete goes. And I'll do one more. These days, many a. So here we have our many a, like every. Many a will always have a singular thing. So many a computer enthusiast. So that's going to be singular. So we're going to say sends. All right, go ahead and do 11 through 20, and I'll read off the answers in just a bit. All right, so the last thing here is about relative pronouns. And relative pronouns are words that go in front of what are called adjective clauses. And so this tells you when the relative pronoun that, which, or who is the subject of an adjective clause, the verb in the clause agrees with the word to which the relative pronoun refers. So in an adjective clause, you will start with one of these words, that, which, who, and there are a couple of other ones. We copied them in our notes a few weeks ago. Anyway, sometimes this word in that clause will be the subject of the clause, not the sentence, but of the clause. If this relative pronoun is the subject of the clause, then you want to choose a verb that agrees with what that pronoun refers to. So here we have the example, a citizen who wants. So who wants to improve the government is our adjective clause, and the word who is the subject in that adjective clause, and it refers to a citizen. So the citizen is singular, so who is singular, so we're going to choose a singular verb. And by the way, adjective clauses will almost always follow the nouns they describe, so what I'm saying here is that when the adjective clause make sure the adjective clause agrees with the word that's like right in front of it. So who is singular because citizen is singular, so we're going to choose a singular verb for it. Here's another one. We need reforms, that's plural, that ease. Ease is a plural verb because it doesn't end in s. The singular verb is eases. So the relative pronoun that ease the burdens of taxpayers, the adjective clause that begins with the word that agrees with reforms, which is plural, so we use a plural verb. Let's do some of the practice ones. So we're just looking for the adjective clause. The government needs census workers who. Here's our relative pronoun. Who are or is fluent in Spanish. So because workers is plural, this is plural. The relative pronoun is plural, so we're going to choose a plural verb, which is the one that doesn't end in s, are. Number 2. He suggested 2 different window treatments that, so here's our relative pronoun, here's our adjective clause, that seem or seems perfect for the room. Treatments is plural, so that means that is plural, which means we want a plural verb, seem. And it's all because the word before the relative pronoun here is plural. Janice has found an art program which are or is perfect for her interest and talent. So which is our relative pronoun, which refers to the word art program. Art program is singular. That means the relative pronoun, which is singular, which means a verb that ends in s, is. Number 4. Ravi has used only 2 of the sick days that, so here's our relative pronoun, that are or is allowed. So here we have sick days. Sick days is plural. That means that is plural. That means that in the clause we need to pick the plural verb, so that's are. And we'll do one more. 5. Ask the editor who coordinates the yearbook schedules. This is our adjective clause. Who is our relative pronoun. Editor is singular, so that means the word who is singular, which means we want the verb that ends in s, so we're going to say coordinates. So what you're often doing here when you have a relative pronoun is you're just looking at the word that's right before it and deciding if that word is singular or plural, because that's the word that the relative pronoun refers to. And then choose the verb accordingly. Go ahead and do 6 through 10, and I'll read out the answers in just a bit. Good luck.